Hi everyone, this is Ali Ahmed. I am going to just illustrate my presentation here on this whiteboard, um, and I will just focus on that. So my presentation is an attempt to explain the team metrics using the concept of ecology. So think about the landscape of tech learning tools as being a swamp of all kinds of tools, and I'm going to attempt to explain just active learning in terms of this. So let's look at this ecology of active learning, and this it has 5 parts. Okay. Let's make that. First part is you can think of this as a part of sub-ecology of this is entry level. Okay. So this is a small part of a bigger swamp. It's so entry level will, assuming that it's students are actively learning in class. Maybe they're in a STEM class, they're learning concepts in coding, and the teacher's explaining. You can think of one simple example like a variable, and the teacher explains a variable is like a small box in memory, and the value is what is held in the box, okay, in memory. So you can have the name of the variable, say x, and the value which is assigned to this part of memory, which has now been labeled x, is 5. So this is sort of a example of active learning entry level. Okay, let's go to the next level of learning, which is adoption. Adoption level. Okay, if you want to think about again classroom, classroom level instruction, maybe in a computer lab, kids are learning about 3D printing, and this time they've been given instructions and they've been asked to take their files, their own files, on the screen and copy it to a particular area or particular program. So they take that file which has a design in it and they copy it and send it to the printer. The 3D printer then receives the file of the student and starts printing. The whole setup has been done by the teacher, and the students mostly spectators. So that is the adoption level. Okay, so this is the second part of the sub part of the ecology. The third sub part of the ecology is adaptation. So if you want to think of a classroom scenario, adaptation maybe could be students have been given code, and they have each adapted the code to print something different on the screen. Some of them have adapted the code to print their own names. Some have adapted the code to print their friends' names or their, and possibly some of them have adapted it to have adapted, you know, part of the code to record the probabilistic, you know, heads or tails. So they're playing the game, their name shows up on the screen, how many times, you know, they've tossed a coin, and then adds up all those probabilities. So this is an example of a simple example of maybe a game that's been adapted. So that's the adoption level. And if we go back to our sort of SWAMP example, we can think of this as being a small part of the adaptation level. These are obviously very artificial separations of these levels. So bear with me here. The next one is infusion. With regards to infusion, you can think of, again, a teaching scenario in a computer lab or something like that, where kids are assembled a robot. The first step is assemble, and the second step is maybe do simple things like move forward, move backward, turn left, turn right. And the fourth level of adaptation is transformation. So again, another small part of the SWAMP, and the last one is transformation. Transformation. And here we can think of kids have been learning coding for 2 or 3 years. Now they've been given an assignment, they've been given the requirements, and they've been asked to write some code, to test the code, to document the code, and maybe even post it online in GitHub or some place for the instructor to access. And this is the fourth level of the SWAMP. Different section of, if you want to think of it as, you know, an ecology. And that's the concept. It's only focused on active learning, and this was the idea that I had to simply explain this. Thank you very much.